What's up guys, this is the first time that you see me on the NanLite channel. My name is Jalil and I'm a director of photography for DX channel. I shoot mostly commercial and documentary work, and on every single shoot that I've been on, there's always that one really cool shot that is very difficult to get, either because we don't have the right resources or enough budget or whatever other reason, and we have to get really creative to make it happen. And so NanLite came to me and asked if I could use some of that creativity to recreate 10 impactful shots from movies, TV shows, and commercials on a budget. And so the first shot that I want to show you guys today is the opening shot of the film Roma. When I was younger, I spent several summers with my family in Mexico City. And so this shot is very special to me because it brings back a lot of memories. And I also think it does a great job of introducing the story of Leo, the maid of the Cuarón family. Now I want to pause the shot right here because I think there's a couple important details. We have the reflection of the plane as it glides from right to left. We also have the soapy water that is just washing across the frame. Then we have the silhouette of the buildings on the edges of the reflection. And finally, to wrap it all together, there's the beautiful tile that is in two different tones, adding the background to the shot. I remember when I was watching the film for the first time, I was quite surprised and I couldn't figure out if they used any special effects to get the reflection of the plane going across the frame. We tried to recreate this ourselves, and this is what we did. Since we didn't have a plane to fly above us, we decided it was better to shoot in the studio and use practical effects. So our art director Joseph bought some tiles for the shoot, but they didn't quite match the original look, so we tried our best to arrange them in a way that they would look good. During pre-production, my gaffer Vincent and I discussed how we were going to recreate the lighting for this shot, and he came up with this really good idea to create a frame that he was going to put diffusion paper on top of, and that actually became the skylight for our shot. While his team was preparing the frame, we started to set up the shot. We were shooting on a BMPCC 6K that we put on a tripod at a high angle pointing down. Once the camera was in the right place, we started to set up the lighting. To get the most even lighting across the frame, we decided to rig two Forza 500s from the ceiling using some rope. But because we only had one magic lantern attachment, the second Forza 500 we used with a light dome. Once the lights were set up, we placed the frame that we had built over the camera, and then we used two pieces of black cloth to completely cover every side so that we could control any light spill that would ruin our reflection. However, the lights coming from above were still looking a little bit artificial. So I placed another 12 by 12 silk in between the lights and the frame to really diffuse the light and make it look even across the frame. To recreate the details of the skyline, we took some pieces of black paper that we cut into different shapes, and then we placed it on top of the diffusion paper so that they would create different reflections in our frame. At this point, we were almost ready to roll, but we were still missing the most important detail, which is the plane. And during pre-production, we discussed several ways to pull this off. And the idea that we decided on was to use a toy plane that we would tie a piece of fishing line to, and we would drag it across the frame. And honestly, I wasn't really sure how this was going to look or if it was going to work out, but whatever, we had to try it. So once the plane was ready to go, we placed it on top of the diffusion paper, and my camera assistant Nathan gently dragged it across the shot. And our art director Joseph literally just dumped the buckets of water on the floor while we were rolling.
More water.
After we finished rolling every take, we had to wait for the tile to dry up before we could shoot again. Luckily, Vincent came up with a great solution.
All using manpower.
I asked you for a mop and you brought me an industrial fan. And honestly, I was actually very surprised with how it looked, and I think the effect was pretty cool. Now let's take a look at the final result. I think we could have used a few more tries to perfect the movement of the plane, but I was still very happy with the result of the shot. Let me know what you guys think about our setup in the comments, or what you would have done differently. Make sure to also give us a like and subscribe to the channel so that you're notified when the next video is released. See you guys on the next one.